Greetings, and welcome once again to a new episode of Morrowind Modding Showcases. As always, I'm your host, Dark Elf Guy, and we have yet another 13 mods for your viewing pleasure this week. As you probably know by now, you can find the download links for each mod down in the description below. Now why don't we go ahead and get started with our popular mod of the week, which this week is Epic Sadrith Mora by Mike. This mod gives Sadrith Mora a massive facelift, with a large cosmetic expansion to the city. Now you'll find many more mushroom towers, houses, and docks populating the streets of this Telvanni city. You'll notice the differences pretty much right away, with a noticeable skyline that you can see from the docks going into town. Wolverine Hall has also been expanded, as you can see here. With Epic Sadrith Mora, you'll find a city that both looks and feels like a center of Telvanni power on Vvardenfell. And indeed, it certainly increases the size of the city, as you can clearly see here. For our house mod of the week this week, we have Cedernine Houseboat by Skill 8. This mod adds a new houseboat, along with some docks and a travel service NPC, to Cedernine. And as you can see here, it's quite lovingly detailed. Inside you'll find the same luxury of detail, with a small dining area, guarded by a robot named Hao here, who I'm sure is completely trustworthy and won't go on a killing spree. And there's also a lovely kitchen, as you can see here. You'll also find a housing and sleeping area, including a number of new documents that paint a backstory to this ship. There's also a nice little study area, as you can see here, including a hammock. This week's gameplay mod of the week is Pull Forgetfulness, Reset Your Skills by Grass Sid. This mod simply gives the Pull Forgetfulness in vanilla Morrowind an actual purpose. Now whenever you drink from it, it'll reset all of your skills to 15. As you can see here, which will allow you to retrain them. Very handy if you want to increase your attributes and level up some more. For our Dungeons mod of the week this week, we're taking a look at Dunmer Strongholds Expanded by Neoptolemus. What this mod does is expand each Dunmer Stronghold in the game, with new multi-level and randomly generated dungeons. and you can expect to find quite a number of opponents to face. These new dungeons are composed of numerous large chambers and small halls. Including new loot containers that you can find scattered about. In addition to Daedra, you'll also find dungeons populated by the undead. And different dungeons will have different layouts, as you can see here. As you can see from this minimap, these dungeon cells are quite large. At the end of each dungeon is a special fountain, where you can deduct 10 points from one skill attribute and add it to another. As you can see here. This week's items mod of the week is Hold It by Danae. What this mod does is add random items related to an NPC's profession to their hands, like a sack for a merchant, or an ingredient for an alchemist, or a hammer for a smith. Not every NPC will be holding something, and those that do will typically be carrying a variety of objects, such as a staff for a priest, or a basket of alchemy supplies for an alchemist, or a scroll for a merchant. With this mod, you'll find the world will seem a little more alive with variety, given the large array of possessions that NPCs will be carrying around. Such as paper for a writer, or a lute for a bard, as you can see here. This mod provides an excellent little bit of immersion to the world. Next up is our quest mod of the week, and this week we have Tales of Cidanin by Denunci. This is a traditional Tales series mod that adds a bunch of new characters around Cidanin, all of which have one form of a quest or another, like this bottle merchant. These quests vary from fetch-based objectives to information gathering, and some of them, like this one, can be repeated as many times as you like. Overall, this mod adds a bit more to do in the swamp capital of Vvardenfell. This week's landmass mod of the week is Western Island by JMK. This mod adds a small island just west of Halar Ode to the game. That's divided into two parts, as you can see here. The island has a somewhat varied geography, with rich lowlands mixed in with tall hills and towering trees that form part of a walkway. You'll find that the residents of this small island have quite a bit of unique dialogue to them. There's also a large number of new quests to find. Including a main quest for you to explore. Naturally, there's also a number of new services to check out. Such as a merchant with a fair amount of gold. And a clothier that includes some new outfits to try. You can see a couple of them here. There's all of this and much more to see at Western Island. For our NPC Mod of the Week this week, we have Spriggans and Twiggans by Melkor. This mod acts as a replacer for Spriggans, giving them new high-resolution textures and effects. It also adds a new creature to the game, called a Twiggan, the male version of a Spriggan. As you can see here. These Twiggans will put up quite a fight. And they also resurrect 3 times as well. Much like their female counterparts. And they also have an increased likelihood to drop Heartwood, which has also been retextured, as you can see here. This week's new Meshes and Textures Mod of the Week is High Res Scrib by Flash3113. As the name implies, this mod replaces the Scrib texture with a higher resolution one. As you can see here, this makes the Scribs of Ardenfell much more detailed than before. Though we may have spawned in a few too many for this showcase. This texture replacer also comes with a darker version, for darker looking Scribs. As you can see here. For our Modder's Resource Mod of the Week this week, we have Nicho-Leothin's Furniture Resource Pack by Nicho-Leothin. This mod adds a number of new furniture options for modders to use, such as differently colored glass cabinets, as you can see here. And a wide variety of desks. That come in various sizes. The drawers in some of these desks act as separate containers. Great for storage purposes. And there's some new bookshelves as well. All in all, this modest resource makes for some great furniture additions for interior design purposes. Next up is our underrated mod of the week, and this week we have Castle Unreal by Reflection. This mod adds a castle based on a popular Unreal multiplayer map to the Ascadian Isles region, near Vivec. As you can sort of see here. Inside you'll find a welcome note, including a directory of rooms, and a teleport ring. There's also plenty of working mannequins for display purposes. You'll find a number of interestingly designed rooms here. Such as this dining hall. You can almost tell by the design of these corridors that they were meant to have players running around shooting each other in them. And there are, of course, massive display and storage halls, as you can see here. As well as a rather nicely decorated kitchen. And of course, no Unreal map would be complete without some lava pits. Which reminds me of an old Unreal joke. A guy once said that it's not the heat that gets you, but the humidity. So we pushed him into the lava. And afterwards, well, he agreed. It's the heat that gets you. This week's Blast from the Past mod of the week is the Battle Spire by Dongle. This mod adds a replica of the Battle Spire, floating above the skies of Sadrith Mora. As you can see here. This will eventually lead you on a quest to investigate the Battle Spire for yourself. This involves a mage sailing you up to this strange floating island in a solar ship, as you can see here. Inside you'll find a curious looking place. With interesting magical effects. And strange opponents to face. Should you unlock the mysteries of the Battle Spire, you'll be able to claim it for yourself. Finally, for our bonus mod of the week this week, we have Potted Plants by Andorith. This mod, as the name would suggest, adds potted plants to the game, which you can purchase in Sadrith Mora. Here you can see what they look like. And there's one for every type of plant ingredient in the game. They even grow ingredients for you to collect, once every 10 days. As you can see here, they're transferred to my inventory automatically. That's it for this week. As always, you can find the download links for each mod down in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you all next week for episode 22